Why is the 10 pin so hard to make? Well, if we actually look at the lane and the pins on the lane, every single pin spare that's not in the corners, so the 7 pin or the 10 pin, we have over half the lane to make that spare. But when it comes to the 7 and the 10 pin, because it's on the edge of the lane, in the corner, we don't have all of that room. It's also very difficult because the strategy that you use with the balls that you have can make it easier or more difficult. What are the options? You can use your reactive resin ball, that's all you've got. So we'll talk about a strategy to shoot it using your reactive resin ball. You can also use a urethane ball, which is a much weaker bowling ball that will go a lot straighter and won't react as much to the lane. And you can thirdly use a plastic ball or a spare ball, which will go much straighter. It will not hook almost at all, even if you spin it, you know, and you hook it pretty good, as long as you keep it in the oil. All balls hook in the friction. But I think that the spare ball is probably the #1 option for at least the advanced bowler to make the 10 pin and make those pins in the corners as they travel across the country. But if you're bowling league, a urethane ball might actually be your best bet. But we're gonna take a look at it and we're gonna see. Stay tuned. So today we have 3 balls. And I think that these balls kind of represent a bowler at different stages of their career in bowling. So we have the beginner bowler, which probably only has 1 ball, or, you know, maybe an intermediate bowler that only has like a couple balls, right? 2 to 3 balls. But let's take a look at the balls that we have today. Our first ball is our main strike ball. This is the ball we throw on our first ball for strikes. This is our DV8 Medusa. Our second ball that we're going to use today is actually the Radical Double Cross. So this is a urethane ball. This is a ball that you can use when the lanes are really dry or the pattern is really flat. But you can also use it to shoot at spares because it's not going to hook nearly as much going across the lane in the oil as your primary ball, your strike ball, like our DV8 Medusa. We have our last ball. It is our spare ball, our plastic ball. So creating a different spare ball. There are many plastic balls or spare balls out there. You could get them to represent your favorite sports team or favorite brand, or you can make your own. So I think a spare ball is a good way also to kind of represent your brand or kind of let people know a little bit about who you are, right? But this is a plastic ball. The cover stock is very hard. There's no advanced core in the ball to help it hook. So it's pretty much gonna go straight. All balls will hook when you get them in the friction, but this ball is gonna be definitely the least hook possibility out of every ball that we have here today. So first we'll throw our DV8 Medusa. All right, so let's take our strike ball, our DV8 Medusa, and let's throw it down the lane, and let's take a look at the ball reaction. So as you can see, that ball took a drastic sharp break down the lane at the break point and hooked away from where I was throwing it, which was towards the 10 pin, even though that was our strike shot, right? So we threw the ball to the right, the ball reacted to the lane, and it hooked to the left. So let's take a look at what happens when you try to shoot at a 10 pin with that same ball. What we're gonna do is we're gonna move significantly to the left, but we're gonna keep our target pretty far to the right so we can throw the ball across the lane so that it has the best chance to negate some of that hook as we're throwing the ball farther in the middle of the lane, in more oil, hopefully, but using angle to kind of decrease the amount that our ball is gonna hook. So let's see what happens. It looks like we made it, but we were flirting with danger. We were playing with fire there. That ball looked like it was going straight in the gutter. At the last minute, it hooked, stayed on the lane, and I probably would have made the 10 pin. So that's the problem with throwing your strike ball with your strike release to try to make the 10 pin, right? Is that the angle has to be so crazy that if you miss a little to the left, the ball's just gonna hook away. If you miss a little bit to the right, the ball's going in the gutter. If this is the only ball we have with us, we can use this ball and still make the 10 pin. But what it's going to require is that we do 2 things. What we need to do is go from our regular release hand position, which would be much stronger, where our wrists would be pretty straight, or maybe even cocked a little, right? Bowed a little, in a strong, tight position, to a much weaker hand position, where our wrists will be straighter, flatter, weaker, more relaxed. What this is gonna allow us to do is roll the ball more end over end, which is gonna decrease the amount that ball hooks, therefore making it just a little bit easier for that ball to stay on the right side of the lane and make that 10 pin that you wanna make oh so bad. So as you can see, that ball rotation was completely different. We took our release, right? Our wrist position from a strong position like this, right? Cupped, right? Cupped. From flat to cupped. We took it from cupped to flat. And when we rolled our ball, we rolled it with that release. Our ball rolled more end over end. It significantly decreased the amount of hook, and we made the 10 pin in the face. But if that's not your normal release, that's really, really hard to do. So what can we do so we can use our normal release to be able to make that 10 pin? Ball number 2, our radical double cross, the urethane ball. So let's take a look at what it looks like to shoot the urethane ball for strikes. Oh! Did you see that? So let's take a look at what it looks like to use our urethane ball, our radical double cross, and throw it across the lane and shoot at a 10 pin. So it looks like we made it, right? So it's much easier to use the urethane ball to shoot at that 10 pin, to make it using the same position on the lane that you would have attempted to use your strike shot to make it, but you're gonna make it with much, much better regularity. So that's probably the main advantage to using the urethane ball. 1, you can throw it for strikes, right? And 2, it's gonna be pretty much the same spot that you would have used traditionally to shoot at that 10 pin, where you were missing it because your ball was overhooking or you were adjusting and it was going in the gutter, and now you pretty much make it every time. But let's take a look at our third option, plastic. So if we throw this ball in the same spot where we threw our reactive ball and our urethane ball, it's definitely going in the gutter. But let's take a look at what it looks like to throw this ball pretty much in the same position where I was throwing my other 2 balls, the urethane ball and the Medusa, for strikes. And let's see how the ball reacts when we throw it for strikes. So as you can see, that ball went essentially dead straight. I mean, it went basically straight as can be. I could have made the 10 pin standing where I was throwing strikes. But let's take the spare ball and let's move to the same exact spot where we were throwing our Medusa, our primary ball, and then our urethane ball, which was our second option, to shoot the 10 pin. Let's throw the spare ball in that same spot and let's see what it looks like. It went straight in the gutter. It had no chance at making it. We'll try it again. Maybe I just missed to the right. Let's try it one more time. This is traditionally why people don't like to use spare balls, because they have a spot that they like to stand in a way that they like to shoot it, and it just does not work if you use a spare ball like that. But what does work is if you close down the angle. So let's straighten the angle up and let's shoot one and let's see what happens. The ball went much, much straighter than any of the other balls. It almost went in the gutter, but it didn't, and I made it. Could have been I missed to the right. But let's try it one more time. Let's see if we can repeat it. Let's see if it really works. So that is the benefit of using the plastic ball. But the key is that you have to straighten up that angle in order for it to be consistent. If you like this video, make sure you check out my other videos in the practice series. There'll be a link right up here and a link in the description. Make sure you come back often. You click that like button. You subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. I am the Expert Bowler. This is Expert Bowler Gaming. And man, we out.